Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be going over everything that we know so far about the new Melvor Idle expansion Into the Abyss. This is going to be a general overview. If you want more in-depth information, I'll put the links to the live stream I got the information from, as well as a Steam article that goes into depth on everything in the description. Anyway, let's get into this. So I'll start with overall. We'll go into combat, then we're going to talk about non-combat, and then we're going to talk about the game mode specific things. Starting off, the expansion is going to be $5. In the US at least. I'm not sure about other countries. Same price as the other expansions. It is an end-game expansion. You're going to have to defeat Bane and the impending darkness event before getting into the content. We know that in terms of content, it is twice as big as Throne of the Herald. It contains a lot of content, both for combat and non-combat, which obviously we're going to talk about specifics of those later. But there are 60 levels of content on every skill. This content is unlocked at level 99. It's kind of weird. We'll get into it later. But just know you don't need to do Throne of the Herald to do this expansion. We know that they're adding skill points and skill trees for each skill. We know that the non-combat skill trees are very similar to the astrology bonuses, so they give you skill-specific bonuses. And we know that you gain 1 skill point per Abyssal level, which we'll talk about. By the time you hit the max Abyssal level, you will have all of these skills unlocked. So you don't have to pick and choose and respec and all that, nothing like that. You will have everything unlocked by the time you max it out. We know that they're adding a new realm mechanic, completely separate progression from Throne of the Herald. Like I said, you do not need to do one to do the other. They are completely separate. So are the skill levels. The skills all have 60 new levels. They're going to show up underneath the base skill level like here, I think. And those are called Abyssal levels. We know that they're going to add 1 new non-combat skill and 1 new combat skill. The new skills have only Abyss levels. They don't offer anything for the base game. It's only in-game content that applies to Into the Abyss. Now we're going to go into the combat-based stuff. This is a very combat-focused expansion. Almost everything revolves around fighting. They're adding an entirely new combat system and damage type, which is called Abyssal damage, and it's completely separate from all other content. You need Abyssal resistance to do well, and we know that base weapons and damage reduction armor does nothing in the Abyss. They also, for fun, they said, I'm interested to see how this is going to go. The combat triangle is going to be reversed. Melee beats magic, magic beats ranged, and ranged beats melee, which is interesting. The new combat skill they're adding is called Corruption. It provides randomized buffs as you are fighting. The way this works is while you're in combat, you have a corruption bar. As you're attacking, the bar fills up, and when it fills up all the way, you are provided with a random buff for the rest of the fight. The monsters also have access to the corruption bar and get random buffs. There are no corruption buffs for monsters that can increase their damage, so you don't have to worry about things changing and you dying while you're idling. The only way you can level corruption is by killing monsters after they have been corrupted, when their bar fills up and they receive that buff. You can also apparently force monsters to spawn corrupted, so you don't have to worry about killing them too fast. They're adding these new dungeon types called strongholds, and they're like very long dungeons, and they introduce pure damage that can bypass your damage reduction. So you need a very high DPS to clear them. I know that he said the damage is going to be adjusted in the strongholds so that they are actually possible. You just need very high DPS to get through it. The strongholds will give you enhancement. This is what the enhancements are. You have 3 enhancement slots. It's like gems kinda. So they all give different things depending on the dungeon or the stronghold. And the strongholds have 3 tiers: standard, augmented, and superior. So obviously everything in there is going to be stronger, but you get better gems. And then the superior enhancements, which you can see here, can be equipped into any of the gem slots. You can see they're denoted by their shape. This one can be put in any of them. It combines all the bonuses from the previous gems into a single item. Speaking about new content, we know that they're adding 96 new monsters, 15 pets, 12 new areas, 14 new Slayer areas, 4 Abyssal strongholds, which are like what I talked about before, but Into the Abyss, new spells, and around 20 new prayers. For the prayers for Into the Abyss, certain monsters will drop soul points, which are required to use the Abyssal prayers. You cannot use normal bones, you cannot use the prayer points you already have. He said that a lot of people already have finished everything and they have like 10 million prayer points saved up. They wanted it to feel like you're doing everything around combat and you don't already have everything you need. They wanted to make it feel separate from everything else. We also know that everything is idleable other than the final boss. So like Throne of the Herald in that way as well. The new non-combat skill they're adding is called Harvesting. It's a gathering skill where you harvest materials. Its special mechanic is called Intensity, where the more you harvest a specific vein, the higher the intensity goes. The higher the intensity is, the wider the variety of materials you can get is. A lot of the Abyssal skills use materials from harvesting, so it's extremely important to level early. So if you're going to get into the Abyss and you want to focus on something, like I said before, you already have to have everything at level 99 to do anything, but harvesting is probably a good place to start. Skill mastery is very similar to the base game, but the Abyssal skills have a separate mastery XP pool than the base game. So you have to do the Abyss content to gain mastery XP for the new content. That's about all I have for non-combat, not as much as combat. Now we're going to talk about all this game mode specific stuff. So in adventure mode, you'll have to pay to unlock the two new skills. In addition to this, your Abyss levels are going to be capped at 10 to start, other than your combat skills. Your combat skills can go up to 60, which is the max, and you'll have to do combat to gain the new currency, which are called Abyssal pieces, and use those to increase the level caps of your other skills. There are new relics for the new skills in Ancient Relics mode, and you obviously have to clear the new dungeons to increase the level caps as you normally would in this mode. Most of the base game relics will work inside of the Abyss. He said about 95% of them will work. There are a lot of quality of life changes coming to the base game as well, including a place where you can see where all of your modifiers come from. They put a search bar in the agility, so you can look for very specific modifiers when you're trying to build your thing. You can view the monster list of all the dungeons by clicking on the area info drop-down menu, but if you have not defeated the monster yet, it will show up as a question mark. If you click the monster, like if you've defeated them and you see this, you can click on this and it'll show you their stats as well. And then here, with the addition of the new combat triangle and Into the Abyss, they've added the combat area information that we mentioned before that shows the monster list that we talked about, the combat triangle for that specific information, the number of times you completed it if you found the pet, and then the link to the wiki. They added more stats to the combat stats panel. Here you can see that Abyssal resistance and the pure resistance for the pure damage that I was talking about. There's the soul points as well and lifesteal, which is interesting. They updated the UI for a lot of the skills, and they added the export, download, and create shareable save URL from the top right menu, so you don't have to go back to the main menu to do that. The instant this DLC drops on the 13th of this month, I'm going to be streaming. That is going to be this Thursday, 2 days from now, when this video is coming out. So make sure to stop by if you want to see what's going on and if it's worth picking up, because I'm going to give my very honest thoughts on that DLC. As you can see right now, I'm just trying to get summoning to level 99 so I can get into all the content. I do not know if I'm going to get it there in time, but it should be pretty easy to level up alongside everything else. But yeah, I'm pretty hyped. Let me know how excited you guys are in the comments down below. I want to know you guys' thoughts. I've been asked to talk about this DLC and been asked if I'm going to play it. The answer is yes. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I've been Captain Blemmo. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.